Hi everyone, my name is Kira Jo and welcome to episode 2 of Open Mouth. This is a show based on the saying that closed mouths don't get fed, so we're going to be talking to a wide variety of entertainment industry professionals and creatives who are making unique moves in their fields. Today we're joined by Kate Saltel, who is a filmmaker and a genius marketer. You may have seen her short film Headshot, or more likely advertising for it on Instagram. She's developed a whole campaign based on the fact that she got into a bunch of film festivals and is basically the next big thing. But honestly, I think she is, because she's a genius, she's hilarious, super cool person. I hope you enjoy this conversation. You released a short film called Headshot a few months ago. Congrats. Very exciting. So, according to your Instagram, grain of salt, this film was accepted into Cannes,
Mhm,
TIFF, covered by Hollywood
mhm,
Reporter and other major news outlets. Also, you're being compared to Curry Barker or Kane
mhm.
Parsons. How does it feel to be, the most talented filmmaker and also the biggest troll in the industry right now?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a troll, but I'll take most talented. I mean, I have a huge ego, so there's not much more to inflate, you know?
Right. So, this was just all just deserved.
Yeah, of
It
course.
was overdue, if anything,
Yeah.
and all real.
Yeah, I
And
don't know. I wouldn't lie. So,
no, that's why I saw the film at Cannes, I was there.
oh wow. I didn't know you were a big fan.
I was front row. You were there too.
I was there, but I don't remember you.
Anyway, so you had a very unique marketing rollout for this that, you haven't had for anything else. How did we end up in this place? Like, if it was a movie, it's like, yep, that's me. Probably wondering how I got here.
Well, so we shot the film in the fall of 2024. And I had been sitting on it, never finished it because of school. And then, I started working immediately post grad. I graduated in 2025. So there just wasn't really time or energy to, finish it. But then finally, when I was able to, it had been at that point more than 9 months, more than a year. So initially, the joke was going to be that I was like going to fake a pregnancy and I was having a baby because, people like 9 months is a long time. Like in the grand scheme of things, like in the creative process, like 9 months is like barely anything, but like people literally make children in 9 months. So that's really what I wanted to do was like the short film Headshot was my baby. And
It's
I
yeah,
had been
yeah.
making it for 9 months, but then it became 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, and it just became like too long. And then like it very much was like it just came to be what it was, just through other ideas.
This film, you literally posted the whole thing on Instagram,
Yeah.
which is very different from a festival, which you've also done. You've had films screened at festivals. So how do you think maybe this is out of your realm, I don't know, but how do you think the future of like film distribution is changing with like social media and all these new forms of being able to share your project so easily?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea was that I wanted people to see it and like I think a lot of filmmakers feel the same frustration where it's like, okay, like fine, I didn't get into can or I didn't get into blah 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 blah, but like the true anger from that is not like, oh, it's not getting into a prestigious thing. It's like crap, like I just want people to watch it. Like I just want an opportunity for it to screen somewhere. And then it kind of got to the point where it's like, darn, like it's really not getting in anywhere. Like not like I can't get anywhere to want to play this. Like I'm just now desperate. I want to put it out. And like you see in social media, people post stuff all the time and like just as a consumer, I find it frustrating when people, post a minute of their short and they're like, go watch it on YouTube. It's like, okay, I've scrolled. Like, I don't have the attention span to, click on a YouTube link. Like, maybe that's how brain rot and fried I am or whatever the heck. But
But
like,
it's
just putting
yeah.
it out there, like, oh, where can I watch it? Girl, you're ready on the app. You're on the app. You're on it right now. Like, I don't know. I feel like there is like a lot of potential for like distribution through social media. I mean, I don't think it's like creating any new platforms, but like utilizing like I mean Instagram, the thing about it and that I learned like the day I released Headshot was that they don't recommend videos longer than 3 minutes to new audiences. So all the views and had to really be organic in a way of people reposting and like putting to stories and stuff. Like I love the new what's it called? The reshare
Mhm.
feature now. But like I think Instagram certainly should implement the ability to, have reels longer than 3 minutes show up on your, when you're scrolling through reels, because that's where the films are.
Like I've seen full movies on TikTok. Like
No, me too.
like hour and a half to 2 hour long movies. I just watched the like Krista Sandstrong, the American Girl movie on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's like if I saw a clip, I wouldn't go and look it up. But if it's right in front of me, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what people do all the time, where it's like you're scrolling and it's like clip one, clip two, clip three. Like, I'd rather do that than like go to a different platform. Like, that's just takes effort.
So you're also a comedian. So not
Yeah.
only was Headshot, the premiere was also a joint stand-up show. And you also produce a monthly stand-up show called Green. So how do your experiences with stand-up mix with your experiences with filmmaking and kind of play off each other and develop, you as a whole?
I mean, like, I think through producing comedy and doing a lot of, live shows and stuff, like, there are a lot of similarities, at least in the aspects of filmmaking I'm interested in, with like doing live shows. And like, just at the end of the day, like, what I was saying is like, the point of why I do what I do is like, I want people to see what I make. So, like, approaching, filmmaking from the lens of like, oh, I'm creating a live comedy show, I think has been helpful for me, where it's like you need to be there and watch it. Like, and then producing comedy is a lot of fun, and it does take a lot of marketing skills that also have become applicable with Headshot, and like, reminding people my show's happening next week, like keep coming, like it's still going on, like finding, the best ways to tag people so they repost, and making materials that make people want to repost, or like even with all the comics I book, I'm like, okay, well, I need y'all to help me promote the show, like finding the best way to, get them to do that, and like have the show reach their audiences. And like that can also be applicable to, the short film you make, and like tagging the people who made it with you and being like, hey, can we like spread this around, and really just creating like a whole company around it, you know?
Yeah. And why comedy? Like, have you always been into comedy? I know your short films like have it's very like genre bending and like mixes of lots of things, but there's definitely, especially on your social media, like a big comedic presence. So like where did that whole like origin come from?
Like when I was in high school, I was very like into very serious experimental animation in a way that was cringe, in a way that was like I am a high schooler. And like I did that because like I grew up in Austin, like we had a film program, but like I wasn't a loner, but like it wasn't like a crazy like we're crewing up and making stuff. So I really had to learn to make films on my own. And that's why I really dived into animation, because I could do whatever I wanted. And I think at the end of it, it comes back to what I was saying is like I make stuff for people to watch, and there's just more for me as like the filmmaker to get out of making a film. Oh my God, is that even a sentence? But like I feel more like result when I hear laughter than drama. And like I feel like there's just like anxiety when it comes to making a drama, because it's like you really, I feel like, can get in your head of like, crap, like what do people actually think, when comedy is so like immediate, okay, this worked. And if something didn't work, it's even funnier, because it's like you have this inside joke with yourself as a filmmaker to be like, I think this is really the funniest joke, but no one laughs at that point. It's just like preference, but
That's really interesting. Yeah, wait, I definitely relate with like the high school, like trying to be deeper than you have the means to be, and then it's just like, oh my God.
I mean, she was the moment, like she had a point, and she
You had
made
a
that.
vision.
She had a vision, and I applaud her. I think also, there was a benefit of being a young filmmaker doing something so serious, that there was like praise for it. um at the time, but I don't know if it's something I'll venture back into because I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, deeper into that whole era, you've credited your fused Canadian Texan identity as being like a big influence in your work, just like with, just blending different ideas. So I'd love to hear more about that, along with just how you've adjusted to LA after, coming from Austin, Texas.
Yeah, people say I sound very weird because it's honestly fresh. Like, you can be from multiple places. Like, I was born in New Jersey
I'm from New
to,
Jersey. Oh my
oh my
God.
God, I don't really like know New Jersey though.
Me neither, and I've lived there for
Where are you
21
from?
years. I'm from like 20 minutes from New York, like Manhattan. It's like North Jersey.
What city?
I'll say I'll be it's near like if you know that at
I
all.
don't know New Jersey. I lived there for 8 years.
Are you from North Jersey?
No, yes. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah, I
do.
was born there.
Okay.
But I was born in New Jersey and I lived there for 8 years and then we moved to Austin and I grew up there and now I live in LA. But my entire family's from Canada. So like Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Toronto. Mainly now everyone's in Toronto, really. I think that what I mean by like Canadian Texan fused identity is just like growing up, it was strange because it's like I'm not necessarily family oriented. Like Thanksgiving was never really a thing, and like I'd have to travel to see my family, and we'd only do that a couple times a year. So I feel like growing up, it was just like I never like felt like home in a way because Austin is and like Texas is so juxtaposed to like Canada, and like my brother played hockey growing up, and like that was a big part of my life too, like going and supporting him play hockey, and it was just like I went to a huge football school and I wasn't athletic and my parents didn't understand really like um a lot of things about like Texas culture, which is so strong, and just like little things like my resume for the longest time had so many spelling errors because my dad edited it and it was like British slang. But maybe I'm also pulling at teeth for diversity here, but God forbid I say I'm a first gen American and God forbid I
God
did on my
forbid.
spell jabs and it didn't work, but that's literally so true.
Even Texas versus LA is so different.
Yeah,
And
very.
even if you're from Texas, you could claim that as being like, I'm a first generation Californian, I would say. So last question. You had a live show turned podcast for a second called This You. Sorry to
Yeah,
bring that up, but it's kind of on brand because the premise of it was, roasting people's digital footprints. So I think this is such a fun concept. And on that note, you left a really interesting director's note at the end of your short film, Canada Day.
yeah,
I'll put it on the screen so people can know what I'm talking about. So who were you harassing on Stan Twitter? What was this era?
yeah. I was heavily involved in the Stranger Things fandom. So, girl, why are you looking at me like that?
Because I also was.
What? I was,
Embarrassingly. I wonder
I
if
was,
we were ever
no, we
interacted.
probably were because I was like hella involved for years. Like,
Yeah.
how hardcore were you?
Like I went to two Stranger Things conventions, had a fan
Okay,
account. Like
okay, me
like I
too.
was there.
And I was really obsessed with Finn Wolfhard, like die hard. And it was just like being an absolute terror, compulsory heterosexuality aspect of it, where it was like I spent all of high school like clinging on to this man that made me feel straight even though I don't know the man. He's a child. I'm a child. Like, and just having to come to terms with that, like, as an adult, to be like, shit, like, I had to unpack all of this, like, lesbianism later because I was just like using like the stan culture as an excuse to like understanding my sexuality. And, there were people who I terrorized like in the midst of that. And, just having to deal with that. Canada Day is an interesting one. I wish it's one of those that I wish that like it was a thing. I mean, maybe I'll do this in like 20 years, but like I really wish I could just, take another stab at it. Like it was my first like shot at drama, and it's just such a hard genre. Like if you're not like it's I have a comedic brain, and like even just the way you put the camera is so integral, and the coverage you get is so important, and really understanding also like the actors and like what moments you need to be where in the space. And I watched that movie and I'm like, fuck, like I wish I could do it again, like just so I could get in closer on so and so in this part. It's drama is so frustrating, and I never want to do it again.
Would you approach it differently, or would you just go and get those extra shots that you missed?
I mean, I think it's just hard because we were trying to cram such a big part of my life and like story and message like into, the only amount of minutes we were allotted because it was my senior thesis. And it
Right.
was just, thinking about it, and just I really wish that I had, yeah, I mean, got different coverage, sure, but like I think just allowed the film to sit a little longer, like because there's a big reveal of like Arya, the main character, she like had terrorized this like actress for years, and when there's that big reveal, I don't really feel it in my gut that it's like,
Mm.
oh fuck. And I wish that maybe I approached it differently. So the directing wasn't that strong, but I mean, like, God forbid a girl tries to make a drama.
God
You just have to
forbid.
keep, you have to keep making stuff. Like directing is a craft, like you have to practice. So I'm
Yeah.
happy with it, but
And is your long-term goal to keep directing?
yeah, so that's the thing. Thank
Thank you, Kate. I'm so glad that we got to meet after probably being best friends in the Stranger Things fandom. Next, we're joined by Sadie Rosen, who's head of operations for the Enemies Project. This is a super cool series. They bring together people from opposite political stances or just general viewpoints, and they encourage open conversation and just a chance to see the other person as a human, which I think is really special in a world where there's so much divisive political content out there. I'm actually so passionate about this project. I think they're doing amazing things, and Sadie's super cool. So, the Enemies Project, what is your official title and kind of your responsibilities? How did you get to that point? Just give me your little story with it.
So I'm head of operations at the Enemies Project. I handle our casting, our social media, which includes our Instagram and YouTube, and basically all aspects of our public presence, including partnerships. We started this organization last year, my dad and I, with one goal in mind, really, which was to heal political division and ideological echo chambers on the internet in whatever way we could. And we know how to do that through conflict resolution. And so that's why we created the Enemies Project, and that's where we are today.
And has your role always been like head of operations? Because I know that you have been like scaling and hiring people under you.
So I would say my role, I came into this because my dad started the Enemies Project and he was super excited about this. He's a super smart guy. And he said, I'm going to put it all on his social media and it's going to be great. And I said, Dad, you have no idea the whole world that you're getting into and how complex it is. And, as someone who's grown up on social media, I still can't even fully comprehend it. But I said, I think I want to help you. And from there, it just skyrocketed because once we started gaining a little bit of traction, it just became so exciting, so inspiring. And so that's how I started. I was like, Dad, you need some help. And then eventually I decided I want to make this my full-time position. I'm so passionate about this. And the stuff, what we're actually doing is actually, impacting people all over the world, which is so amazing for me personally to experience. I truly wake up every day and I love what I do, which I think is such a gift. And it doesn't really feel like work to me because it's just so interesting. And it feels like I'm doing something really positive. So I feel lucky.
Yeah, so you've been doing this for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
I think I first heard about it. You reached out to me about a year ago, like July
Mm-hmm.
2025, just kind of like asking my opinion about like scaling and social media and stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is such a cool project. And you mentioned that you were at, I think, like 50,000 Instagram followers, and you were like, I think we'll be at 100,000 by the end of the year, easy. And I'm like, that's some great confidence. And now you're almost at 200,000 a year later.
Mhm.
What gave you that confidence to say, like, we are growing, this is something that matters? Like, how did you know that it was going to continue to grow?
Originally, as soon as we launched, I saw the hunger for this type of content. Um, it was immediate, and I think that we got lucky in that way because I know that that's not the norm in the social media world. But immediately, we were getting DMs, emails, people personally saying this content is so impactful. Everyone needs to see this. People see what conflict looks like all over social media every day. The yelling and the talking at each other and the debating, but we never see what resolution looks like. And that's what people, that's a really hopeful thing. Conflict is horrible. It's super interesting, but it's not a good thing. And so we're providing just creating another space in people's brains about what resolution might look like.
And you were saying like your third reel or whatever blew up. I think was the first episode like a transgender woman and
Yeah,
like yeah.
that was one of our first episodes, and I still am really proud of that episode. I think that's a super powerful episode. I'd encourage anyone to watch
And
it.
it has millions of views.
Millions of views. Yeah, the third reel we posted got around, I think it was like 4 million views. And I was like, this is going to be easy. But the reason that I said that was because I think that divisive content on the internet goes viral. It makes sense. You're scrolling and you see two people yelling at each other. It's engaging. It's what a lot of these debate organizations, media organizations do, is create conflict on the internet because it goes viral and it creates clicks. And I did that at the beginning. And yeah, it creates views, clicks, people engage, but that's not the message that we want to be spreading on social media. And that's something that we quickly realized. We don't want to add to this spiral of vitriol and echo chambers and hatred on the internet. We carefully want to craft this narrative that there's another way to move forward, and that is understanding each other, that we don't have to debate, that we can just understand each other at the most fundamental level, and that's how we move forward. And so that I think that inherently resolution's not as interesting to people as conflict. That's why we're called the Enemies Project, not the Empathy Project. It's a more interesting name. And I think in the media world that's, something that people flock towards is, bad, things that are really engaging. But we're trying to make resolution engaging as well.
I see people online comparing the Enemies Projects to Enemies Project to other channels or other organizations that do similar content, but like you were saying, maybe lean into more of the conflict part and more of the like tension and screaming and you're sitting back and eating popcorn watching being like, oh my God, this is great reality TV drama, but it gets views. So how do you guys like internally maintain that reputation of being like, we are authentic, we are here for resolution? Because sometimes I feel like, is it sometimes tempting to kind of lean into that conflict side to get views?
Definitely. I think that's something that I really dealt with at the beginning, was realizing, wow, it's easy to get views and I can understand why people do it this way, because it's amazing to see those numbers just like go up, like it's addicting. But that is not what we want to be contributing to the world. I'm very careful with all the content that I put out on social media, and all the content that's on social media is edited by me. And I try to think of the content through the lens of a conservative watching it, through the lens of a liberal watching it, and what they would think about that and what the comments would look like. And I think we are very careful in our message. And sometimes at the beginning of the video, it's still, that's not to say we don't utilize conflict for social media, because we know it works, but that is never how we'd want to end a video. We always want to end it in resolution, to give people an idea of what that looks like. And we also really have worked on our branding and tried to create this kind of homey, I don't know, the vibe that you see behind me, and this thing that is really human and that people connect with. And we try to do that in all of our interactions as well. We're organization run by family members. It's me and my dad. We really try to keep that personability aspect so that there's trust. Because I think that, people on both sides of the spectrum can be really guarded towards organizations coming at them like, do you want to come on our show with this other person? Because immediately they're worried about their image, about being canceled, about how these opinions are going to be misconstrued on the internet. And that is something that we are really cautious about.
Or even like their physical safety,
Yeah.
like, or mental safety,
Yeah.
like being with someone who disagrees maybe with their entire lifestyle. That's really vulnerable.
And it's a real fear. And it's horrible that people have to experience that, but it's the way the world is.
Take me through kind of that guest booking process. I know you were saying you were getting a lot of DMs, a lot of emails, but then you were just saying, people are hesitant because it's a very vulnerable situation to be in. So are people more coming to you? Are you seeking them out? How are you getting these people?
So most of the people I find via social media that come on our shows, and I will have a topic idea in mind. Like right now, I am casting an episode on immigration, and I kind of have an idea of the person that I want on the left and the person that I want on the right. The person that I want on the left is kind of the stereotype of what the right thinks, and the person on the right would be the stereotype of what the left thinks, and hopefully that person would kind of break these stereotypes. But I reach out to people, and I think that, most of the people I reach out to don't respond. I think it definitely requires a large amount of bravery to be vulnerable within your beliefs. You have to be really clear within yourself and confident in your own beliefs to be willing to be vulnerable like that. And I think that that is just something that a lot of people aren't ready to do, which is fine. But the people that agree are on board with this idea that we need to be able to talk. And that is the core behind it. And so I interview them, and I have the most amazing and crazy and inspiring conversations. I think that's my favorite part of my job is, I have all these different topics that I'm casting on, and I just talk to the most interesting people with very different perspectives than me on a lot of different things. But I'm really always interested in understanding perspectives that are different than mine. And that's where I come at with all these meetings. If I think that they're a good fit, then I try to fit the puzzle pieces together with someone on the other side that I think not only are they far apart on policy about, but that I think that they would just get along on a personal level outside of politics, that they would just vibe. So that's really what I look for when casting episodes. The whole process takes a while, but I would say that's one of the most wonderful parts of my job is talking to different people from differing perspectives from all over the world. I think that's a really unique part of my job.
Do you ever find it difficult, because obviously you're interacting with these people before the cameras go on and after they turn off, Does it ever feel difficult to interact with some people after maybe you've heard what they think about things that are important to you? Is that ever an issue?
It's definitely difficult to talk to people sometimes that I think their perspectives maybe are directly harmful to me or the people that I love. And that is a really scary thing. But I try to come at all these meetings from who are these people trying to protect? Because perhaps even if you're saying something that I am taking as hateful, the reason that they're saying this in general is because they have fear for themselves or for the people that they love. And that is where this thing that I'm taking as hatred is coming from. And so understanding that everyone is coming from a place of love somewhere in their heart. Maybe it's just for themselves, or maybe it's just for their one person in their life, their significant other. It's coming from a place of love. And that's what I try to remember. It's not about hatred, usually, not always, towards a certain individual, but from a place of fear of protecting someone or something that they deeply care about.
That's really interesting. And I think it clearly shows that you've been doing this for a year because you've had to kind of develop this mindset. But then on the other side, what has been one or two of the most just impactful moments to you, either on camera or off camera, working with these super different people,
In terms of the people that I cast, I'd say the ones that have been most impactful to me are the ones that I personally have deep question marks on these people. Like, how could this person be a real person with real beliefs? And I don't think I'm going to specify which belief that could be right now. It's always interesting because no one is ever what I expected. You know, I'll have this stereotype of someone, this is why they believe that. It's almost never the case. And so I've come away, I'd like to believe I have a lot more nuanced perspective than I did a year ago because I've just heard so many stories, like really emotional, deeply felt stories that impact me on a personal level. And I think I take it all with me.
Yeah. And then does everyone like leave the shoot? Like, I feel like people always think about this, like when it's these kinds of conversations, like the camera's off and it's like, okay, we've resolved it, but then they have to like leave or like interact after. Do you find that you feel like they've made real progress?
Always right after, it's insane. It's like night and day. They start off and they're like really like physically not wanting to be near each other. And by the end, perhaps they're hugging, perhaps, you know, sometimes they're like, let's grab a drink afterwards. I just want to get to know you like as a person. I would say as time goes on and they go back to their communities, as soon as you enter back into your echo chamber or people that agree with you, they're going to be like, perhaps on the show, you know, a liberal said, I love this conservative. I think that they're a good person. And then you go back to your liberal community and your friends and people are like, you just humanized a monster. What are you doing? And these people still haven't gone through this process. And once we go back into these echo chambers, then perhaps this person on the show will be like, yeah, like, you know, I had that experience, but what did it actually mean? Like going back to their original belief system. And so it's really important to keep practicing these skills and to keep talking to people whose perspectives you differ with. Because as soon as, you know, just go straight back into your echo chamber, the circle goes around again.
On that, what are your future goals for this project to either just grow your audience or to find some way to, you know, get that repeated exposure?
So our end goal in a perfect world is to create a social movement. I don't want to call it depolarization because I don't think that's a very exciting term, but around the idea that the general American public is not the enemy. I think that the media has created these narratives. And I think that when we uncover that, we can begin to work together. And that's how we solve problems. Right now, we are this organization. It's me and my dad. We're hoping to continue to create these videos with creators in different spaces, with normal people, with personal relationships, with celebrities, to create a splash, to get people talking about this, what resolution can look like. It's an exciting thing because we're so divided right now. Our country's really going through it. So I think that hope in this time is so important, and that's what we're sticking with. And eventually, we hope to create a movement and real on-the-ground change in our communities.
I'm actually so passionate about this project. I think they're doing amazing things, and Sadie's super cool. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Open Mouth. As always, closed mouths don't get fed.